Each day the annual lull intensifies, and all we can do now is be on stand and hope to catch a buck between does, or get lucky and find the golden ticket, a hot doe that comes by in bow range. With the tag burning in his pocket, Mike Reed kicks off the weekend hunting the river farm, resuming his quest for Dak.
It's Saturday, November 14th, and Chase and I are set up down at the river bottom farm. We're back in the pinch. We got a southeast wind today, so we're set up on the riverside. It's a little bit smaller tree, but there's a lot of, it's holding on to its leaves pretty well, so we've got good cover. And I can shoot back into the grass towards the river. And we've had 2 bucks cruising out of the peninsula. The best one we've seen so far is that double beam buck. That's a 4.5-year-old, real pretty deer. He came through the grass here on the riverside. I missed out on those high pressure days. I've been working the last 3 days. It feels good to be back in a tree. Hopefully we have some good movement this morning and we'll get Dak or Merino in bow range.
Dak is a no-show, and Mike returns to the drawing board to develop a game plan for the evening sit. 389 miles to the southwest, Nolan Redeker is also hunting on the morning of November 14th, continuing his season-long grind in Kansas. Nolan has had a great year so far, encountering multiple good bucks in all phases of the bow season. However, between self-filming and adhering to a high school schedule full of commitments, he's still patiently waiting for an opportunity. Taking advantage of the weekend, Nolan is tucked into a pocket of timber known to hold a lot of does.
Meh. Meh. Well, as a bow hunter, you've got a lot of lessons that you gotta learn. That was a lesson learned today. It's frustrating. Finally got an opportunity and I blew it, but the problem was he was turning as I was setting my pin on behind the front shoulder, and I shouldn't have shot at all because he turned, and I just panicked and rushed. Clean miss, and glad I didn't hit him somewhere and injure him at least on the bright side. So I don't think he really knew what happened and kind of stuck around for a while, but I think he finally moved off with his doe, so frustrating. Just gonna take it and learn from it and move on. So definitely a nice buck. I've never seen him before. Pretty mature, so hopefully I can get another opportunity at him or a different buck. Next couple days should be pretty good. They're definitely rutting hard as I could tell this morning, so gotta keep my head up and keep after it. So
Right on cue, Nolan is the only one who gets an opportunity on the 14th. He had the golden ticket, a hot doe. Down but not out, the young bow hunter looks ahead, hoping that it won't be his only arrow release of the season. That same evening, Mike took a shot at Merino, hunting the same stand Jared encountered the buck a few days prior. Par for the course, the buck is a no-show and the sit ends with only a few small buck encounters. The following morning brings much of the same, no Dak and no Merino. Mike does see a mature buck out cruising though, the same 6x5 that seemingly walks by every hunt. The biggest surprise of the day comes in the form of a single cuttyback photo. The giant drop-time buck Mike calls Ali was on the home farm. Knowing his window of opportunity is small, Mike switches properties and sits a redneck blind overlooking a picked cornfield. The deer move, but Mike's target doesn't appear, and that ends the weekend. Now, Mike must return to work for a few days before resuming the quest to fill his second tag of the season. The following morning, November 16th, dawns perfect.
Alright, it's the morning on November 16th. It's a beautiful November morning, really cold, crisp, really calm and quiet right now. I'm hunting the stand where I killed my buck last year, so it's my second time in here this year. And I really like this spot, except for the deer kind of travel anywhere in this river bottom. Back in this peninsula, there's nothing that really forces their movement, and so the likelihood of deer just walking a bow range on its own isn't great. So you kind of gotta rely on having the potential to call. Pretty much have it set up where Connor watches 180 degrees on the back side of the tree, and then I watch the front side of the tree, and we basically just have to have our heads on a swivel because you can see a pretty good ways in here, and we'll see deer on every side of us. I've already seen a few this morning, does, fawns, and small bucks. Primary target, of course, is Merino. We haven't seen him or had pictures that we know of since our encounters, and I'll probably pull cards once I get down from the morning hunt, but for now I think we're going to sit in here as long as we can. The wind should be good. It just feels like a morning you can catch a buck on its feet. Right on the edge right there. He's looking. Walking. It's not even 9:30 yet, and it's been an action-filled morning. Of course, we can get the black-eyed 10 to walk right by us twice, and Dak hung up out there, I don't know, 60-plus yards. Thought he was coming for a second, just kind of hung up, didn't see anything, and worked his way off. He didn't get spooked or anything. Well, then not even 10 minutes after that, the black-eyed 10, I mean, this is probably an hour and a half after we first seen him. He comes from where Dak was and comes right back into 25 yards again. So just our luck right now. The deer we're targeting gets hung up and these other bucks walk right in. But it's been a fun morning. We've seen a lot of bucks, a lot of does, just non-stop watching deer. We have a little fawn right here below us right now. I'm trying to figure out where Dak would have went. It looked like he maybe worked his way out into the WRP area. At least that's the direction he was going when we lost him. So we'll see if he circles back in at some point this morning. It was good to see him. Can't complain about seeing this many deer, but hopefully one of the shooters, Marino or Dak, comes back in at some point.
The incredible hunt finishes strong, but Dak never reappears. Midday, Jared pulls the home card on the Cudde Link system, but the intel provides minimum insight. Marino, back to his old ways, has disappeared again. Following the morning encounter with Dak, Jared decides to head to a nearby green food source, one nicknamed the South Plot. Hunting the same stand Grant tagged his buck on in mid-October, hopes are high. Overall, the night produces decent action and peaks when Jared fills a doe tag, clearing the plot and ending his hunt. That same afternoon, 300 miles to the southeast, I'm arriving from my second stint in Illinois. This time, I'm hunting the southern half of the state with good friend Chris Desold. With only a few hours to hunt, Hunter and I sneak into a nearby redneck blind and the action is fast-paced. By the end of the evening, Droppy, the #1 target on the farm, cruises by, but out of bow range. It's safe to say our excitement is high rolling into the next few days.
Alright guys, evening of November 17th, about 2:30, and Hunter and I are set up in the same stand that we were in this morning. The strategy for this is nothing short of simple. We're just basing our decision off the fact that we saw Droppy here last night, and the wind coming out the northwest sets up for him pretty well to put the wind in his face, come by this clover plot, and work his way towards this bedding area to our northwest. I hate that we weren't able to take advantage of him by himself last night, but hopefully we can get lucky. He'll still be alone and continue his loop around the farm and make his way back by this tree. He's obviously the top target, but if we can see something that's mature, we probably won't hesitate to take a shot. That's kind of been my whole goal of coming to Illinois, is just to shoot a mature buck. It's a beautiful night, man. You really could not ask for a prettier evening. We got some work done midday. We were gonna work all day, but something in my gut just told me we needed to be retreat tonight. So far it hasn't paid off, but hopefully by the end of the night, we'll have a good story to tell.
Look.
He's gonna go right down the trail. I see him. Well, we just saw our first deer of the night, and from what I could tell, it was a shooter buck. We did a rattling sequence probably 10 minutes ago, and Hunter spotted a buck cruising on this pick bean field to our west. And so instantly, what I did was I grunted away from us, and it picked his feet up, and he was coming right down the trail. And I was just waiting for him to come 5 yards. Tree's big enough that I'm like just on the other side. And when he didn't start coming through, I realized something's probably wrong. I'm not sure what it was that he busted at. I thought it was about to happen there. He probably hung up, I don't know, 35, 40 yards. Awesome to see him. I know that. We'll see what the rest of the night has to bring.
I'm not the only team member on stand on the evening of November 17th. 405 miles to the west, Nolan Redeker is back after it. His stand location overlooking the pick bean field pays off big when one of his season-long targets steps out, a buck known as Dozer. Unfortunately, the doe he is locked down with never makes a way across the field, and all Nolan can do is watch. Two evenings later, November 19th finds Nolan heading back to the same property his missed opportunity took place on earlier in the week.
Just getting set up this evening. It's November the 19th. I'm sitting in the same spot I sat a couple days ago, and I've also encountered a shooter in here about a week ago, so definitely good movement up in here. That's why I've came back, so hopefully things pick up where they left off last time, and I can have some good action up in here tonight. I think the last does are in estrus now. Maybe still a little bit on lockdown, but I think the bucks are going to be on their feet looking for those last couple does, so we'll see what happens in here this evening. messing with this does the way he was grunting. Finally. Been a hard season, but sitting in the stand pays off. That's so awesome. And he's dead right there. Well, what a great season it's been. It's hard to believe that my season started with this deer and ended with it. Worked out pretty perfectly, and November's such a great time to be outdoors and be in a tree. I enjoy the heck out of deer hunting, and it's something that my dad's taught me, and that you can definitely see as he's sat in that stand a lot more times than I have over the years. He's had that stand where I shot the deer set there for almost 20 years now, and luckily for me, I've got someone that teaches me a lot about deer hunting, and I'm lucky to have somebody like him to show me how to do things and put me in the right spot in order to shoot big deer. So it's been a really good season. I'm excited to see what the rest of the year brings.
Nolan isn't the only young bow hunter on the Midwest Whitetail team trying to tag a buck on November 19th. 390 miles to the northeast back in Iowa, Maddox Thede is still trying to shoot his first buck with a bow.
First bow buck.
First bow buck ever. So for Maddox, I think one of the things that is really important is not necessarily the success of a harvest, but success looks like getting your kids out, taking youth out, spending time in the tree with others, and Maddox and I just have a great time in the tree. We enjoy it. We thank God for it. Thanks for following along with us until late season. Thede Mason, and we're all done until late season, except for maybe some doe tags to fill.
Right in the middle of the annual lull, the hunting can be extremely frustrating. Fortunately, our action hasn't reflected the struggle typically associated with this time of the season. Nolan Redeker stuck to his year-long goal and finally got the redemption he's been looking for. And Jared Mills had one of his best hunts of the season, encountering Dak and the black-eyed 10, both fully mature bucks and both out cruising in search of the next hot doe. My experience in Illinois reflected much of the same, 2 awesome bucks alone, but unfortunately, I wasn't able to capitalize on the opportunities. With the end of the month-long event on the horizon, the pressure is beginning to mount. The best days could be behind us, but over the years we've had great success during the final week of the month. So, those of us with tags remain engaged, eager for our chance to make the "it finally happened" phone call. This ride only comes by once per year, and we will stay on it until the final bell tolls. For now at least, we are still chasing November.